You take a building, but when you fill it with people, then it becomes a friendship center. And we grew from the very first few friendship centers that were established in this country to today we have 120, and more are still in the developing stages. That tells me that 50 years from now, I expect that we will have a blanket of friendship centers right across this countryside.
Je pense que dans 50 ans, le mouvement des centres d'amitié autochtones au Canada sera davantage développé. Surtout si on regarde les tendances actuelles, je pense que les centres vont également occuper un espace, une place importante. Les centres vont permettre aux citoyens autochtones dans les villes de pouvoir occuper les espaces publics et de faire entendre leurs besoins, leurs aspirations et ainsi influencer les différentes décisions qui seront prises et qui nous concernent.
I hope in 50 years that we have grown to many communities within our provinces that don't have friendship centers today, and that responsibility, and that we are independent and self-sufficient.
This is a story about people and the spirit of a movement that exists across this land, the Friendship Center movement.
Since the 1950s, the Friendship Center movement has been the country's most significant off-reserve Indigenous service delivery infrastructure, and have facilitated the transition of Indigenous peoples from rural, remote, and reserve life to an urban environment, helping people access the vital services they need to succeed in urban settings across Canada.
At that particular time, we were primarily concerned with what was happening in the city of Winnipeg for Native people, which was absolutely nothing. There were no Native organizations that we could depend on. There were no organizations that could sort of deliver us out of our dilemma. So in order to do that, I knew that we had to take some course of action. They were a group of individuals that recognized the needs, that were prepared to tackle those needs. And we supported one another. We were a small group, but we supported one another in any event. We even went across the country by using Marion Mead Moore's car. And we would only have enough gas to get from here to wherever we were going, hoping that somewhere along the way somebody else would be good enough to give us money for gas to come back. But all through those years, it was a learning process for all of us.
Well, I've been in the Friendship Center movement from the very beginning, when they started in Winnipeg. And then we got our Friendship Center in Selkirk, and I worked there just as a volunteer with Amy Clements for many years. Amy was my role model. When I got married 52 years ago, I moved to Selkirk, and right away I got in with Amy. And I was with the group that formed the first Friendship Center in Canada. And I'm so happy to see how it's growing and see all the youth that are involved. It gives me a really good feeling, to think, that we have this now. Because when I started, my home was like a Friendship Center, open door.
Friendship centers have been community hubs, providing space for urban Indigenous community members to gather through culture, family, trust, and friendship. Indigenous peoples know when they walk through the doors of their local Friendship Center, it is their space, and they are seen and welcomed.
Because there is such an enormous need in so many areas, it was a little difficult for the Coquilitza Fellowship to really determine what they were going to be focusing on. We found a house that was called the Baines House, and it was willed to the YWCA, and in the will of the Baines family, apparently there was a section in there that said that this building was also to help Aboriginal girls. And so that's actually how we acquired that building. And so that served as the first Indian Center in Vancouver when we opened our doors in 1963.
The National Association of Friendship Centers is the national body and was formed in 1972, representing over 100 friendship centers and provincial territorial associations from coast to coast to coast. We are democratically governed, status inclusive, and accountable to our membership. Our core mission is to support friendship centers and provincial territorial associations in achieving their diverse missions and visions within their urban Indigenous communities. Ultimately, the National Association of Friendship Centers envisions a future that remembers the past and is rooted in our cultures to improve the well-being of Indigenous peoples living in urban environments. Across the country, Friendship Centers provide culturally appropriate services for Indigenous peoples living in urban centers and have become a place for Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples to come together, to share traditions, and to learn from one another. For many Indigenous peoples, Friendship Centers are the first point of contact to access culturally based socioeconomic programs and services.
Part of our future development as Friendship Centers is to recognize in the past 25 years that there have been times when we have provided that leadership, when we have been a political force, when we've been able to unite people, when we've been able to bring people forward to be recognized. And as soon as we can look in the proverbial mirror and say that's what we are as Friendship Centers, that political reconciliation will go on, and we'll see the real development in Aboriginal communities across the country, not just in the communities where there are Friendship Centers.
Le regroupement des centres d'amitié autochtones est un outil de concertation pour les centres d'amitié du Québec. Et à l'intérieur de ce mouvement-là, on cherche à se concerter et à développer des positions qui sont communes pour le bénéfice des Autochtones qui sont en milieu urbain. Et à travers notre association provinciale, on est mieux en mesure de pouvoir échanger sur nos opinions et de réellement faire une concertation qui nous permet justement de s'assurer de développer des programmes qui correspondent aux besoins de la collectivité qu'on dessert.
Carrying the newly formed National Association of Friendship Centers Eagle staff, Peter Masson, and accompanying him is Elder Dominic Rankin will be having a special ceremony to honor that and to bless that Eagle staff. Right behind us, carrying the NAFC flag, Roger Bonso. Carrying the Manitoba flag, Winnipeg Police Inspector Brian Segura. Carrying the Métis flag, Jack Park. And carrying the Canada flag, Senator Ray Fox. Followed by the Senate, the NAFC Senate, Marge White, Miriam Young Chief, Helen Hudson McDonald, Adeline Weber, the NAFC Executive Committee, Vera Palis, Kevin Welton.
When I first started this movement, there was like 30 people at our youth forum. And now there's, 75, 80 people. Sometimes, we're hoping that it gets to 100 people, and that's really exciting for me just to see the movement, just to proceed or to elevate just to what we are right now. And it's a really great feeling to think, I've been a part of this for 6 years. And that's what's really fun about it, is to see everything just open up.
I think one thing that's a challenge is getting people to realize that when they're sent here, it's a big responsibility. You're representing everyone at your community. So when you're voting on things and you're deciding things and making motions and all that kind of thing, you got to remember who sent you here and why you're here. For us being on a national board, we have to remember that we're on a national perspective, which means that if there's something that I know will affect my community, I can't look at that. I can't be swayed by my personal feelings for the community, because I've been elected as a national spokesman and I'm here to do that job. And I take that very seriously.
Canada to move from an agricultural...
I know my first youth forum I went to, I had no idea what was going on, and I know a lot of them now here at this youth forum. They don't know, but I would like to have them informed, make sure they have a lot of clarity on the issues, and make sure that they can take ideas back to their local center, because that's what it's all about, the local centers, the grassroots level, to have them tell about the AYC and say, this is what our national youth are doing. This is a forum that we participated in, and just to make that impact on them.
concerns me, and part of that is because we're becoming administrators. So what the government has actually done is dump their responsibility on us to administer our own poverty.
I'm a recovered alcoholic, and how I got recovered is by going to the Friendship Center. Mind you, it was run in a person's home. Eleanor Brass and Hector Brass in Regina opened their basement to more or less open it up for people that, as a Friendship Center, it wasn't called a Friendship Center, it was just a come and go place, and this is where the Friendship Center in Regina had started. So this is where I went and got my sobriety, which I am still sober today. And I could thank the people that were running that Friendship Center, because if it wasn't for them, I don't know where I'd be today.
And I particularly would want to mention Robert Major, that had been involved with the Friendship Center in Winnipeg, and he was also very well known in my area that he was an Master of Ceremonies at all the powwows around our area, you know, that is very well spoken. And he was also a veteran, that he had been in the Air Force, Royal Canadian Air Force for a period of time. And,
I'm glad I'm still around. Like, I mean, I said, it's my 30th meeting. Nice to see Roger and Marge. We're the only 3 left of the originals.
Today, the Friendship Center movement has expanded and continues to offer essential programs and services to urban Indigenous peoples across Canada, working tirelessly to enable healthy, thriving, urban Indigenous communities in the face of systemic racism, exclusion, and violence. Friendship Centers are a key hub for urban Indigenous peoples, delivering critical programs and services that directly contribute to community well-being and safety. Examples of such programming may include women's employment programs, men's peace or healing circles, play-based programs for youth, and seniors advocacy groups.
If I could describe the Friendship Center in 3 words, I would use love, community, and support.
Influential, loving, and accepting.
My Friendship Center and my PTA at Manitoba as well, I believe that culture, number 1, number 2 would be family, and number 3 would be respect.
Good, clean, fun. Woo!
Love, hope, dreams.
De protéger la culture, la fraternisation
et qu'il y a beaucoup d'amour.
Family, friends, and a cultural center.
Meeting place, assistance, support.
Friendship, exactly what it means. Holding out your hand, holding hands and pulling people into the movement, showing respect and integrity. You have to stand up to the values of what we are. Many times we forget where we're going in this business world, but let us always remember the purpose of the Friendship Center, bridging the gap, bringing communities together.
I'd like to thank Nelson Mayer and Gordon King and Rusty Wilson and most importantly my mom for bringing me into this movement and just making everything so wonderful and being such a positive influence and always supporting me and introducing me to all the wonderful people I've met over the years.
Friendship centers and the youth and the elders in the community are grabbing onto that opportunity and moving ahead. And so I think in the next generation, we'll see Aboriginal people across the board, urban, rural, take significant leadership positions within the broader context of this great country of Canada.
Doesn't seem
The story around the raven and the sun, how the raven actually brought sun to the world, to the universe. And so it's the same with the Friendship Centers around how we bring opportunities for our people that are moving into the urban area. So very much like the other speakers, we welcome you guys, and we do honor each and every one of you for actually being here and serving for the terms that you have with the Friendship Centers in your own communities. So it's without further ado, and my great honor to welcome the children of Takaya.
The National Association of Friendship Centers takes great pride in dedicating this commemorative documentary of the last 50 years to the memory of all of those pioneers, trailblazers, and changemakers who contributed to the birth and growth of the Friendship Center movement. We, the present generation, the grandchildren and great-grandchildren, thank you for helping us to clear the way, the pathway Friendship Centers now follow with that constant companion, our memories.
Just gotta